What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is a question from one of my subscribers. This is he wanted my opinion on this, and I forgot to do this video because I get so many requests, and sometimes not only just the requests, but I'm also looking for other things to talk about that's going on during the week or the day. So I sometimes forget, but um, so my apologies for getting to this video earlier. But he wanted my opinion on because it's the thing. One of the things I do on my channel that some people don't like, but it's just for fun. You know what I'm saying? We do a lot of what if scenarios, and one of the things that people do wonder, and he wonders about this, is what if the Thunder, instead of trading James Harden back in 2012, what if they traded Russell Westbrook? Now, at the time, Russell Westbrook was considered the more valuable of the two. Okay, James Harden was a six man who, he said that he wanted more money, but probably what it was in addition to money, he wanted a larger role. And, look, if I'm not mistaken, I think Daryl Morey was part of the Thunder organization back then. And if Daryl Morey had his way, they would have traded Russell Westbrook. He thought that James Harden was the better player, even back then. If I'm not mistaken, I think Daryl Morey was a member of the Thunder. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But as we all know, Daryl Morey later became the general manager of the Houston Rockets. And for a long time, he and Mongo Slade, a.k.a. James Harden, were thick as thieves. Not so much now, at least reportedly. But anyway, what if they traded Russell Westbrook, the Thunder, instead of James Harden? Well, both Harden and Westbrook are good facilitators, though I have to admit, I think Harden is better. Harden is a better facilitator. I don't think Harden is as dangerous in transition or as fast break, obviously, as Westbrook. Westbrook doesn't, at that time, Westbrook had unbelievable athleticism and speed and explosiveness. That was never necessarily James Harden's strong suit. Harden was a better outside shooter and has been a better outside shooter for his entire career. I think Westbrook is like a 30% career three-point shooter. Harden's like a 36.5% career three-point shooter, so considerably better from outside. James Harden. Harden is a more dependable free throw shooter. Defense. Now, for many, many years, Russ was not noted for being a good defender, although he did show flashes of being a good defender in college. Harden was never noted for his defense, although there are times where he could get inspired and be adequate in that situation. And yeah, I know James Harden, if I'm not mistaken, led the league in steals one year, or at least was amongst the leaders in steals. I can't remember whether he led it or was he amongst the leaders, but he was never a really good defender. But anyway, I have a hard time. I know where people are going with this. The consensus is that the Thunder underachieved with Russ, and therefore James Harden would have been a better duo partner for Durant, right? But let's look at these things. Let's look at this. Because I think there's a little bit of revisionism going on with Russell Westbrook's career. People forget. I'm trying to go through the years here. I believe it was 2013, right? Wasn't it 2013, the year after he went to the finals? That What's his name? Not in the NBA no more. Patrick Beverly. Patrick Beverly injured Russell Westbrook. I think it was that playoff game in the first round. Russ was lost for the playoffs, and ultimately, I think they lost in the next round. I can't remember who it was, but they lost the next round. And some people thought, man, if they hadn't got hurt, uh, perhaps they could have made to the NBA Finals again, or at the very least, had a strong battle with the Spurs in 2013. And then I think in the next year, 2014, man, I'm kind of struggling a little bit here. I can't remember what happened in 2014, right? I can't exactly remember, but I think they lost in the second round, right? 2015, remember, that's the year that Kevin Durant was injured. Remember, he got injured, I think, later in that season, and it was pretty much Russ one-man show. I think that's the year he led the league in scoring. At least the first year he led the league in scoring. So they were besieged by injuries then. And then people forget the 2016 season, the last year that he and Durant were teammates, they knocked out a 67-win Spurs team in the round before. They almost beat a 73-win Warriors team that was defending NBA champions. So it's this perception that somehow the Thunder were this underachieving loser team, when people forget, they were good. It's just they always had it isn't like they were losing to bad teams, but ultimately, they lost to better teams. And yeah, Russ had a lot to do with it, as far as not performing up to the standards that you wish upon a guy who's supposed to be a superstar in the playoffs. But if you're going to be fair about it, isn't that James Harden to a T? Underperforming in the playoffs. So I don't know exactly why people think it would be different if he paired with Kevin Durant instead of Russell Westbrook. Knowing his history. So I don't, honestly, another thing too is, look, if Russell Westbrook was the main reason why Kevin Durant ultimately left, then maybe Kevin Durant stays longer with the Thunder. And I can't help but think too, with Kevin Durant being as dominant offensively as he was back then, leading the league in scoring or amongst the leader in scoring, that I don't know if Harden would have the same freedom offensively that he did in Houston. You understand what I'm saying? I think that he would be playing more the traditional point guard role as he's playing now. Not saying he doesn't score, but you know what I mean? Instead of him putting up 34, 36, 31, he's not doing that playing with Kevin Durant. I think he'd be averaging more around 25 tops. 25, 23. I think his shot attempts will be way down. Whereas Russell Westbrook, if he got traded to the Houston Rockets, I think he's basically, for an even longer duration of his career, putting up the type of numbers he's put up with the OKC Thunder post Kevin Durant. I don't know what they'll be winning or not, but man, if they could, this is another thing I'm going to say too. I forgot about this. In real life, of course, the Thunder traded James Harden. And as I said before, Russell Westbrook was worth more. So if they traded Russell Westbrook, they would get back more. So the team would also be altogether better, which is why I think James Harden would score less. But the team will be even better. And, they may be able to squeeze out a championship. Maybe. But, man, with James Harden on the team, man, you just never know, man. You just never fucking know, man. You just never know. I think what would happen is Russell Westbrook's numbers would have been even crazier, but I don't know whether he would have won a championship. James Harden probably would have had a better chance of winning a championship if he played extendedly with a prime Kevin Durant at that time in his career. Um, but, as we all know with James Harden in the playoffs, you just can't count on him, man. So it's just if the team's talent is so exorbitant to the point where it supersedes any silliness from James Harden in the playoffs, then maybe he would have title. Other than that, I'm just not certain about that. But anyway, that's kind of how I see this. Tell me what you guys think.